Hey everybody, welcome to Smashing Game Time. We are two brothers that go through gaming's back catalog of yesteryear. I'm your host, Nick. I'm joined as always by my co-host, my brother. His name is Josh.
Hi everybody.
Hey everybody. Hey, look, I found a tech deck. Hey. Yeah, Summer Game Fest. If you're listening to this, it's happened. We're gonna run through some of that in the news. We're gonna talk about some of our favorite games that made an appearance at Summer Game Fest, or some of the I almost call them counterculture shows. What would you say like what the Xbox One was? That wasn't a counter. It was just like going on at the same time, not part of Summer Game Fest, but
I would say it was the, hey, don't watch that. Come over here and see what cool stuff we've got.
hey,
And honestly, they had
Jeff Keighley. We don't have him, but we've got games.
But let's be honest. At least in my opinion, Xbox had the bigger lollipops. I was more enticed to go to their van.
Oh my God, I didn't realize what you were doing there. We'll get to what company had the most enticing candy in their van when we get there. Before that, at top of the show, hey, Smashing Game Time is available wherever you get your podcasts. We're on Spotify. We are on, I'm blanking. We're on Apple. We are on YouTube podcast and YouTube proper, where you can see our wonderful faces in the squares beyond compares. Hey, fuck the algorithm, tell a friend. That's right, we do not fuck with the algorithm. Me and all my homies hate the algorithm, so word of mouth is king here. We don't fuck with algorithms. Josh, it's been a light gaming... I lie. It hasn't been a light gaming week. It's been a light new gaming week for me because I'm getting ready for Godiso.
It's been a light one for me because I'm job hunting.
Yes, that's right. When I told Josh's... a few weeks back, when I told Josh's job to fuck off, they took that personally, so they fired the man. Well, they let you go.
Let's not say fire, because fire sounds worse. Like, I'd rather be told, like, hey, he got laid off, because let's be honest, that's basically what happened.
It's the summer of layoffs. That's right. You get a layoff. We get a layoff. Everybody gets a layoff. Josh, welcome to the land of being laid off. I'm sorry. Sorry to make light of the situation, but hope that you land on your feet, not on your head. You'll be fine.
I like to tell them like we tell the algorithms, go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself. And just know that your worth is not tied to what you do for a living.
Wow, I honestly, it was a long time coming. It was bound to happen. We're making shitty decisions left and right, and it shows it. And when they go under in the next year or so, like, hey, I'm glad I'm not in that mess right now.
Yeah, you didn't sign any NDAs on your way out that says you can't say anything.
The only thing I signed was my middle finger to the air while they were all watching me from the windows.
You did and then you brought the second one up slowly.
Actually, I started with this and I started to crank it out.
Oh, you did the crank. You cranked it in front of your old employers.
I cranked it, yes.
And that is why he got laid off.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the reason.
If you're listening, you are very confused. If you're watching, you're not confused by the innuendo at all. But this week it's been a lighter week. I've been dabbling back on some older games that I don't really have much else to say on. I'm still playing Hauntii. Remember Hauntii, the little monochrome black and white? It's like a little adventure game, top down.
I sure do.
I wasn't liking it for a while. I still wasn't liking it last time I played it, and then I realized something. It is Mario 64. You are hopping between worlds, collecting stars, doing random things. You don't even know half the time what you're doing to get a star, but then like you ring 4 bells in an area and then you get a star, or you beat a certain amount of enemies in an area and you get a star, or you find a star at the top of a tree. And once I realized I was collecting stars, and the stars actually allow you to like go into a menu and unlock memories for your character who's trying to like escape the afterlife or escape I'm guessing it's purgatory, trying to get into heaven or whatever it calls heaven in the game. And so that I think once I started likening it to Super Mario 64, I was like, oh, okay, I get it.
Nick, this is the most important question, though. This will tell us for sure. Is there a penguin or a penguin equivalent animal there that you have to bring the baby to the mother?
I haven't seen anything.
Or race even.
I haven't seen anything like that yet, but you can possess animals in the world. There's a thing that hops and you can possess them and like hop on enemies.
Close enough then. Super Mario 64.
You can possess caterpillars and jump between trees and get things out of trees. There are still some areas where it gets very confusing just because the art style is just, it's very black and white. And then if you have a lot going on, it can be hard to read sometimes. But it's growing on me. It's apparently a 7 hour game. I'm only about 4 hours in, so we'll see. We'll see what's left. Other than that, the games that I've been playing for Goaty, so I'll talk more about those next week. As we're recording this, Steam Fest is coming up, and I do want to play some demos. I always tell myself I'm gonna play some demos, and I never do. I'm actually gonna do it this time, so that'll be fun. The other thing I've been doing, I'm reading Invincible, the hit Amazon animated show Invincible. It's based off of a comic series that has about, I want to say it's 130 issues, somewhere like that. So I've through Hoopla, the fancy Hoopla app, I'm reading the first compendium, which is issue 1 through 48. I'm about 12 issues in, and I'm really surprised how much ground so season 1 is probably issues 1 through 12. And I'm honestly a little further than 12, but 1 through 12 is essentially the first season, and I don't want to ruin it with all the big twists that come. But I'm really surprised how many comics can fit into one season of TV. And now season 2 just aired recently, and I don't know, like it feels like if they're going to do everything they want to do from these comics, it feels like it's going to be a 10-season show.
Well, there's going to be some things that are going to be speculated. Of course, there is a very risque scene.
Have you read all of Invincible?
I've read half of it at least.
Well, there's already some scenes like. So Invincible came out in 2003. There's some panels where like the best friend is what's his name again? It's William. It's William. The best friend is William. In the show, he's the gay best friend. Here, he's like the Chad best friend. And when he discovers Invincible, Mark is invincible, and when he discovers that what's her name is Eve, he has them fly them, and they're both like, "Oh, this is so gay." And you can feel that writing is like very 2003, because you would never see that scene in something made in 2024.
Right.
But you get the sentiment of the scene. Like, this is this guy wanting them to fly him around. You get what the joke is. You get like, you're like, oh, in the time that this was written, yeah, this was acceptable in comics. And now even modern comics, that's something you wouldn't even see. You wouldn't even see somebody riff on it. But no, I'm really enjoying it. I do think. I do want to see more. I do want to see more of Eve. I don't mean that in a gross way. I mean that in a character way, because it kind of just feels like she's, a lot of everything that's going on with Eve is in the background. Whereas in the show, this previous season did a lot more for Eve with like her family life at home and how much of an asshole her dad is, and kind of like her origin story. There was an episode between the two seasons. I don't know if the comic gets into that. I'm sure it does.
I mean, it does, and we do get to see more of her later on. It's just, I would say, like, if you look at the first half of Mark and the Viltrumites, like basically the war.
Mm-hmm.
Think of that, and then the latter half of it, or like maybe like the last quarter of it, is more of the aftermath that comes from it, and life goes on kind of stuff. So Eve is a crucial part of that story later on, for sure.
I will say the Mark and his dad stuff still hits, like the panel where his dad leaves, like where Mark says, "I'd still have you, Dad." Like it hit.
Yeah.
It hit when the show came. I think it was right around the time I was getting ready to become a dad, or I was a dad, and I remember that hitting hard. And then I read this, and I was like, "Oh fuck!" Like no matter the medium, that scene. And again, I'm not spoiling anything by just saying the lines, but the central conflict between father and son is really, really strong, no matter the medium. So I'm enjoying that. I just had to renew it because it was going to return at 2 a.m. today. And I was like, I'm not trying to read 30 issues in so many hours. So I've got till July. But otherwise, life is still going. I'm working on a new pilot. I'm working on an SNL packet. I wrote Josh, you can giggle or you can shame me for what I'm writing, but I'm writing a scene where a grandson wants the nursing home to kill his grandmother.
I mean, is this in reference to anything?
No.
Oh, okay, I was like, if you're bringing up
the
bad
thesis,
memories,
the thesis of the scene is maybe they have it coming. No. So the
I
thesis
didn't
of
mean in that way, Jesus.
the grandson and his partner rush over. They're like, oh my god, I heard it's actually a grandfather. Oh my god, my grandfather, is everything okay? And they're like, oh, the head nurse or whoever it is in charge is like, oh, they're fine. They fell over, but they're making a full recovery. And then immediately it flips, and the grandson's like, are you sure? Like, if he's dead, I'd totally be okay with it.
I'd understand. It was just, it was his time, and
And then it
yeah,
eventually
okay,
gets. Are
yeah.
you sure you don't want? Are you mad? Like, if you wanted to rough him up, I would look the other way. I mean, he is a Nazi sympathizer. He voted for Trump twice. Like,
Just justifying whatever it takes for the nurse to basically kill them right there on the spot.
yeah, like, hey, like he had his moment. Like, I kind of need this money. If you could kill
They
him,
somehow pull out like a little whiteboard they put on there. We'll pay you.
we'll pay. So I'm trying to find out what I can get away with in that, but it's fun. Even if I just write, like, it would never air, but just to prove to somebody that, oh, he knows game of the scene. Oh, he knows to not the bridge of the scene, but he knows where the climax of the scene is and where to start working towards the out.
I mean,
So I'm working.
the way I always put it though is, as long as you don't go past what the writers for It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia would do, you're fine usually.
Oh, I want to teeter that line because now
That's what I'm saying. Like, as long as you don't push, like they're I mean, they're on the edge. Like they're the guys who
They-
climb buildings and will do stupid shit like on the edges of them, and like maybe one arm or one finger, and it's
Are
like,
you-
oh, okay.
are you talking
Jesus.
about Project Badass?
Yes.
I love Project Badass. I love Project. I wouldn't do that to you. I've been watching a lot of that lately to get into that mindset. The other one I wrote was grandma porn. You know grandma porn.
I know grandma porn.
Grandma porn's a classic. So I was like, you know what? This is like one of the better things I've written. Let's continue the life of this because I like this one. A lot of grandparents in my sketches. Lots of grandparents.
Some God, Nick, I think you need some help.
But so
Deep-seated memories or something.
to continue the grandparent lineup. So have I told you my pilot idea for Burn It Down? And I know that gaming podcast, but we're talking writing for a minute, so get the fuck over it. Have I told you my idea for Burn It Down, the community center pilot? So you know how like in a lot of like movies or shows, it'll be like, we have to save the community center. Like we have to raise this amount of money to save the community center. So
Yeah.
I have you been to the rec center near my house? I almost doxed myself.
Are you talking about the one next to your town?
A few exits away. Yep.
Yeah, I've been there.
Okay. So I was gonna say don't
This one?
don't dox me, bro. So that one has a wall of all the people that they lost to COVID. And my assumption is that they're all old folks because it's a lot of, whenever I'm there, it's a lot of old folks. So I was like, oh wow, this like really hurted them out.
They're like the only ones who could afford a constant.
Me too, family. So my idea is the pilot is about a semi-rich guy who owns the community center. And we start the pilot where they've already saved the community center and they're celebrating. And they're like, yeah, we did it. We got enough new members that we won't have to sell the community center to this evil person over here. Yeah. And then that's the cold open, and it immediately skips to the first day of COVID. And it does a little montage of like the wall being built up with like name after name after name being added to it. And so then the first act is essentially, okay, we've already saved the community center, but now it's fucked again because all of the new members died. And this guy's like, well, you know what? I want to make my money back. What do? I don't want to get new members. I want to sell the land. And what can I do? And his lawyer's like, well, you can't, like, since you donated this to the community, since you own the building, but you like sponsor the community with it. The gist of it is he has to chase all of his remaining members away so that he can sell it. So he can sell the land to a private company. And so the way he does that in the pilot episode, he's trying all these different things. He's trying to just like, get COVID at first, and then his estranged daughter's like, hey, there's this furry convention. They lost they weren't able to do their convention at this other convention center, and they're looking for a new spot. So he's like, oh fuck, these old people don't like weirdos, so they hold the furry convention there, And it scares all the old folks away. But then the furries are like, oh, we really like this community center, and they all become members. And so every episode would be him trying to scare away the new people that he's attracted. It's essentially, the old nursery rhyme. There was an old lady who swallowed the fly.
Yeah,
It's just what's he gonna swallow next week to try and get the thing that he just got.
I love it though.
If you're listening to this and you're thinking about stealing this shit, I will fucking murder you. So I should probably hurry up and write this before someone steals it. Josh, what are you doing? What are you playing? What are you writing? What's going on?
Well, of course, I'm job hunting everybody. I just today alone, recording this, I had 3 interviews
Any
back
good
to back
ones?
to back. A couple, yeah. I mean, all 3 of them are actually really solid.
I didn't mean like did you do good, but like are they like, oh, I'm really excited about this one.
There is one in particular that I'm excited about, and I'm hoping either this afternoon or first thing tomorrow to hear about a next and final interview. Um, so that'd be great. Definitely take the ease the mind, because not only have I lost my job, but of course for those who've been on our journey this whole time, I'm also doing IVF. Um,
Josh is
and
sticking eggs up his ass right now.
right now, and there's transfer very soon, so it's like, okay, well, I don't need to be jobless and have a kid on the way,
And have a
so
kid in my butt. I
can
need
we
to get going.
can we please get something going here? So good potential everywhere around. I've got a couple more interviews this week and still applying, just trying to keep myself preoccupied in between doing work for mom and um, door dashing in the meantime, just to help bring some income in.
Maybe I'll have you DoorDash something for me.
I'm gonna charge you double.
No, don't do that. Come on. That's not fair. That's not
Uh,
fair, man.
but in between all of that, what very little time I've had in between, especially like yesterday where I was gone practically all day, uh, Moonscars, I did beat it. I'm going back and just touching up on some of the trophies, and it's basically just do these 2 particular side quests that you have to do a second playthrough basically to get. So I'm just doing that really quick to get it over with. But
What did you
other than that,
think? What did you think of the ending and everything?
um, I think it fell flat. I like the premise they were going for. Like once they started to give me more dialogue other than with this fucking cat and the first sculpture, or the
I hate
first
that fucking.
clay guy.
I hate that fucking cat. It's so
Oh, they're
annoying.
so fucking annoying. But then you start to talk to yourself more, and um, you start to get like a better idea of what's going on. And it's like, okay, I'm liking I'm digging the story. What's going on here? It's making a lot more sense.
I'm
And then it just kind of
I'm
fell flat.
blanking, but isn't it like it's an exploration of like the shell that war creates out of a warrior or something
Yes.
like that.
Yes, like, and then when you look in a mirror, you don't actually see yourself anymore. You see what the shell, or what remains of the shell.
You know what? Now that I'm not reviewing it, I do want to go back and look at it in a non-reviewer
It, it, the premise
point of
is,
view.
yeah, the premise is really good. It's just the ending. Um, okay, yeah. So as far as like premise, it's really I got hooked into it finally once I understood what was going on and everything. Because like I said, it kind of they throw you into it. You kind of have a small itty bitty sense of what's going on, but it's like okay. Um, but I think at the end, when you get to the final boss, I think that's where it really falls flat.
Mm.
I mean, to the point where it's like, I mean, maybe it's more meta than I can understand, or maybe it's there's a higher thought process to it as far as what that we're trying to get to. But to me, it's like, to me, it would just all fell flat because everything you had worked for up to that point kind of seems like it just falls off.
Trying to remember the last boss.
I don't want to ruin it. So I mean, unless you put up a spoiler alert for this, because I don't want to ruin
I
it for
mean,
anybody who
I'm
wants to
just trying
play
to
it.
remember. I don't visually remember what it was.
It's the
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
yep,
I mean,
mm.
I have an idea in my head. I do, at least what they were going for, what they were trying to like show you through it all. But at the same time, I'm like, everything it seems up to that point was like you're building to something great, and then you get to the end, and you're just like everything falls apart, and it's like, well, what the fuck? Like, I was expecting something like really dramatic or something like really out of the box, but it just kind of feels like you know the person who like your religious belief maybe just kind of like is in question.
The game is 2 years old at this point, so I feel like we can maybe spoil it. Hey, if you're listening, spoilers, spoilers, spoiler. It's the sculptor guy.
Yeah, the first sculptor or the guy who made the clays. And before that, like you get to like the domain, the mirror world,
Mm.
you go up to him, and every single NPC that is still alive at that point, depending on which path you end up going, you basically talk to them. They're like, "Hey, yeah, I'm basically gonna go now because the sculptor told me so."
Isn't that par for course in these like blood moon likes? Like it's Bloodborne. It's very Bloodborne like, and that Bloodborne also ends with you fighting an NPC that you've essentially been talking to the whole game, right?
Yeah, I'm looking for them and trying to understand the answers of everything that's going on, and it basically comes down to it's like, okay, well, I need you because you were essentially like the material needed to continue my work, and your character is like, yeah, fuck that. I've decided that I'm going to go ahead and just kill you. And he's like, okay, good try.
Go ahead, go ahead. Bet he puts it. He stops spinning a vase, a vase, and he's like, "Bet, let's go."
I just imagine he has like some like 80s chick doing the stuff, and he's like a ghost, and he just rolls up his sleeves like, all right, hold on, Patrick Swayze in this bitch, fucking rips it off, like,
He's like,
let's
"Word,
go.
word, we're going word, word."
And
But
then the whole
I'm
time the whole
sad to
kingdom shit, it's whatever.
I'm sad to hear that you're still achievement hunting it.
I'm almost done. I would be 100% done if I hadn't lost my job, but that kind of takes priority right now, is making sure
You know what
everything
grinds my
comes in.
gears? When you
What's
get
that?
all the achievements in a game and then they put DLC out and you don't realize it.
Don't you fucking get me started on that shit.
I had that happen with Moonleap. I was like looking at my games. I was like, I haven't played Moonleap in a while. And then I saw I didn't have all the achievements and I was like, what the fuck happened?
I had that with Callisto Protocol.
Oh shit, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for your loss.
I know, I'm very upset about that because
Would
it's
it
like,
would it make you feel better if I said it was all just a dream?
I would rather bash my head in right now under my desk.
I can't believe they did that bullshit. I
I
can't believe you had you had
this
an
great
interesting world.
ending.
You had an interesting world that you could. He was dead all along. It was all just a dream.
All in all, they literally had like a great, to me. I'm not saying it was a great game. I understand that, there was some development issues, and obviously it's a fresh crew working on it.
That
However,
no longer exists.
that no longer exists. But still, you had a great premise, great story, great world. I mean, ending was perfect because it's like, will he or won't he?
You had it and then you fucked it up.
You fucking gave us
You
Dead
fucked it up.
Space 3 immediately, which I loved. I don't care what anybody says. The ending of Dead Space 3, the DLC of it, or just in general, were really fucking good. Like, they left it on such a cliffhanger.
Callisto Protocol does this thing where like it creates all these really interesting characters, then it does nothing with them. The guy that you helped get out, and then they just like, oh, we don't need him anymore. He's fucking dead. He was like the convict. Like, well, they're all convicts, but like,
But he's the one who helps you, right?
he helps you out,
Yeah.
and then there's that survivor's guilt from surviving the ship landing and your buddy not, and he's continuously haunting you. And then I forget the female agent's name.
I forget her name too, but she's
Is she
she
undercover?
saw it all. No, she's the one who saw it all happen, and the company who caused the first outbreak were trying to cover it up, and your ship was apparently delivering uh, the stuff to them.
They fucked up so bad because all those characters are so interesting, and your guy, is dealing with survivor's guilt, and then the main bad guy, he's not he's the typical bad guy type shit, but and then you're going on planet, and it's like, oh, I think I'm gonna be in for Callisto Protocol 2, and then for them to do a DLC and fucking undo it all, fuck.
And leave it on such a, like, in my opinion, a stupid or dark ending, or like dark, but here's where things made a huge U-turn. We're gonna just stop everything, hold it all to a grind, and yeah, bye.
Now I'm pissed all over again.
I know, I'm sorry.
What?
But
How's Legaia going? How's Legend of Legaia going?
good. I'm already at the Byron Monastery.
Okay, that's
I
where
just got
it
Gala.
really starts to pick up. I feel like
Yes.
like
Yes.
I mentioned that it picks up around the second island, but I think the Byron Monastery is where the game really like It's like, okay, fuck off. Here you go. Like, do your thing, man.
Yeah, like literally, it's like, okay, figure out where you're gonna go from here, because other than going to the forest, there's not much take. There is one thing I will admit that they do in the game that I wish other games would take into consideration. So rather than just saying like an area is off limits and like not even allow you to explore, I don't know if you remember this, but if you go into the parts of the where the mist generator is at before you get all the Genesis trees,
It pushes you out.
no, well, you go into an area, but there's like dialogue and there's more like it kind of explains more and more to you like why you can't go into it. But there's also treasure chests that give
Hmm.
you items. I wish games would do more stuff like that for exploration. Like in a normal game, there's either like an invisible wall or something in the background basically is telling you, hey, you can't go that way. Like there's a force field. Where at this, it's like the first area you go into, like for example, when you're Noah and you're coming down or coming out of the cave to go up the mountain, the Mount Ricora, wherever it is for the first time,
Hmm.
you can go in there. Not only can you find her first weapon attachment, the nail glove, but the Terra, her Rasharu, tells you like, hey, this wolf's body is already at its limit. If we attempt to even go in this any further, it's probably gonna die, and I'm gonna die on top of it.
It's giving you good lore reasons.
Yes, and then like later on, like even like Vaughn's, I forget what his fucking Rasharu
Is
is
his
now.
meta? I think his is meta.
No, yeah, his is meta. Meta is like, hey, yeah, I'm a little stronger and I can tolerate this a little better. However, Terra's still weak. Terra's probably going to die if we go any further, and I'm probably going to die midway to it. So let's just not go that way. And then with Galo, when you get him before he gets his Rashru, it's like, yeah, if we go any further, Galo's going to die. He's going to get attacked by a Rashru, and it's going to attach itself to him, and there's going to be so many here, he'll probably die because they'll overpower him.
Yeah, because the whole point of the game is getting rid of all the mist so you can get your
Go in there.
Rasharu up to full power. But did we ever? So I know that your Rasharu, when you defeat an enemy that is like you can summon. What was the science behind that? Did you have to end the fight with hitting them with the Rasharu?
No, it is all percentage based. It's luck based.
Oh, okay. So all the bullshit we made up. Well, you have to hit them with the
So
Rasharu on the
what?
last
Because
hit.
you would think if you did their hyper moves that you find their books, you do it.
Hmm.
That always usually ended with their Rasharu arm. That's why we assumed, oh, it has to be that. No, it is all luck based.
To think
Yeah,
we were sitting there like, oh no, you have to do it this way.
we could have just gone to GameFAQs and printed off the whole sheet and what it told us.
What a pain in the
Yes, we're
ass.
that old.
The monster designs in that game are really cool. I remember there was like a wheelie boy, like it was almost like it was like Pokemon, but like darker.
I still think the first one you get, Grimard.
Hmm.
I still think he's my favorite, just because once you get him high enough, he does the 15% reduction to damage
And he just looks like a
that they
metal
do.
Bellsprout.
Yes, and he explodes. He runs into him and kamikazes himself.
Jesus Christ. I Are you playing it on emulator?
Yes.
So you jacked that speed up, didn't you?
In parts like right now where I'm with Gala, and he can only, for some reason, he's the slowest motherfucker there. He can only do 2 moves. Oh yeah, I sat there for a hot second, and I just did a couple battles to get him high enough so I could actually, at least do his fucking arts, because you at least need a minimum of 3 to begin with.
They go very kung fu movie with him. Because
But
anytime you do his hyper arts, like it does that like the cameras acts differently for him than it does for the other two, because it'll do that pull in but pull back really quick and be like, oh.
I just went, Nani?
And he's always got his fist out and you're like, oh, this guy's about to
I
fuck
love his
somebody up.
I love his first fucking hyper arc because he's just like, ugh.
Is that
don't know why.
who did is that a Square game?
No, that is a God.
Or
I
is
don't
that
even think they exist anymore.
they we're talking all these remakes. They should remake Legaia.
That'd be a fuck. I'd play the shit out of that.
Get some voice acting
That
on
was the
that
wrong
bad
page.
boy.
So it was developed by Procyon and Contrail. Contrail, for those who aren't familiar, they're the ones who did Wild Arms 2. They did Alondra 2. I
Are they
say did
still
because they until SCEI, so what is that? Sony Computer
entertainment
Entertainment, and whatever.
interactive?
They integrated back into each other back in 2000.
So Sony has
Sony
the
has
Gaia
them.
rights.
So I tried looking it up because I was like really curious at one point. I was like, well, who technically owns the rights right now to it? And there was no like 100% like given answer. My assumption was based on the information. It had to be Sony, but we did get a. I am going to loosely quote this: a sequel to it.
It did the I don't even know if I can say JRPG. I don't know if it's offensive or not, but it does the JRPG thing of, oh yeah, it's called this, but it's actually like a different. It does the Final Fantasy, the Persona thing, the Dragon Quest thing of it
Yeah,
being a sequel, but not being related to the first one.
and they like at one point people thought it was because their main character for that one looked very similar
Blue hair, red
to Vaughn.
vest.
Yep, and it wasn't.
You've got me wanting to play this. Are you playing it on Steam Deck?
Yeah, I can get you hooked up. We'll get you hooked
I
up.
might need your help. I tried setting up my my Xbox Game Pass on there, and I got overwhelmed. I was like, I need Josh. I need him here now.
We can talk about sometime this week. I'll come over and we'll get you squared away.
I'm here all week. I got nowhere to be, and neither do you.
I was saying July.
But no,
But yeah,
I just thinking about Legaia, and again, I haven't played it since I was a kid, but I imagine there's some really good stuff in there about, parasitic relationships, and because if I remember correctly, the Saru were actually peaceful for a while, and then like these evil beings brought the mist, and the Saru like kind of were like, oh, we like these guys now, and it made them evil. So I'd be excited to explore it with my older, more
perspective. Yep.
my older perspective, my more asshole. Oh, let's read the. Hey, this is
You're
this is a nice
for the
game
first,
here. Let's
yeah.
read the subtext.
For the first time ever, you're into the story. You don't care about the gameplay. You're like, oh, I want to know if this. Like, I'm at that point. I could give two shits about the gameplay or the multiplayer. I want to see how the story does. I could give two shits about everything else.
Exactly. That's why I finished 9 Years of Shadow, because I was like, I want to see where this goes.
Trust me, that's why I finish any game we play now. I don't care. I mean, the gameplay. I mean, let's be honest. Every game has its flaw, but they're all basically, to an extent, the same fucking thing as their predecessor.
I just want to see where this goes. I'll suffer all this pain just to see what happens. Josh, thanks for the updates. Any other games you're playing or looking to play?
Not at least until I get a job lined up. It's kind of hard to even for example, went to my local library.
Oh boy,
I picked up Call of Duty Modern Warfare remake.
getting yourself ready for that new one.
Yes and no.
I hope you know there's no story ties between them, Josh.
Oh, I know. Well, trust me, Nick. I've been down this rabbit hole. I had to figure out what's going on 6 because it's in between. Technically, it's in between Cold War and like the what happened in between Cold War and happened during like the flashbacks missions of Black Ops 2. We'll talk about that when we get to it in the story.
It's not worth all that trouble. It's not worth all that
trouble.
trouble.
It is. It is.
Speaking of stories, you ready to get to the news?
Read all about it. Latest football scores. Morning paper. Morning Star. Paper, mister?
It's time for old news.
Starting out first, Arcane Season 2 gets a brief sneak peek in Netflix promo. This is a GameRant article written by Katrina Let
me help you there.
Yes,
let me get on
please.
camera. Katarina Trikovic. There we go.
Thank you. Yes, I'm sorry.
Katarina Trikovic. Yeah, we're all both terrible people.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw. Have you seen this trailer yet?
I have, and honestly, I'm surprised it hasn't burned down the internet.
Did you see that this is actually going to be the final season also?
I did see that.
That bums me out, but what that tells me is that they went in with like, here's the story, we can maybe get it in this many seasons, and they're sticking to it. They're not like trying to bloat it out and be like, we want to do 10 seasons, we only know what we're going to do for the first 2, but here's what we got so far.
I mean, let's be honest though. Like they're not only working with you know, the story that they're providing in Arcane, but they're also working with the lore that's already widely available to people who play the game.
So, and
So
I, as someone who's never played League, Arcane is very accessible. I didn't need to know shit about League. I didn't need to get into League after. Looks like this premieres in November, by the way. I'm excited for this. I'm excited to see where they take it. I do think Netflix animation is like leaps and bounds. I think when it comes to animation right now, you have the Spider-Verse folks over at Lord and Miller. You have Netflix, and then you have and there's some others out there, but these are just off the top of my head. And then you have like Adult Swim with like the goofy shit they're doing. Those would be like the top dogs in animation right now, and because
American animation.
I'm sorry, American. Let me get that correct. Because Netflix also has the Gears of War animated show coming up soon.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be big Gear stuff.
I'll be honest. I mean, Netflix to me at least is the only one that has like that. They're very consistent with their animation. It's like there isn't one thing that has come out that was animated by Netflix that I've been like, oh, this looks awful. Like everything they've animated has looked. Has there been issues? Yes, but have they looked really good and done well? Of course.
I wish wish HBO Max would have stuck. Yeah, I have my Invisalign in, so I'm struggling. Everybody, HBO Max would have stuck with it because I've started Scavenger's Reign, which was on HBO Max, and I think it got canceled, but now it's on Netflix, and it looks good. It looks really good, and I'm like, why did they not stick this out? This seems like this would be, but you know what? You never know from the business side. But I do think Arcane Season 2 is going to be great. She finally said Jinx. She finally said her name. It happened. She finally said it.
I want to see what, I mean, I enjoyed Season 1. They did a fantastic job with it all and getting it all set. I'm just curious to see, how it all ends.
When this comes out, we should do another Arcane episode.
We probably will. We'll get Jake involved. I know Jake will want to talk about it too.
Have you seen Fallout yet? We can do a Fallout episode once you've seen Fallout.
I can. God damn it! I can watch it while I'm delivering or something.
That's dangerous. What are you doing? What are you doing?
That's not my first rodeo. Moving on. So I gotta look at my list. Okay. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 trailer, release date, Game Pass launch, and DLC compatibility, and everything else we know. So specifically, I went ahead and pulled this GameSpot article written by Eddie McCooch. Nick, there's a lot to digest between the trailer that released during Xbox's little thing. Of course, now we have to worry about like the whole deal that went down between Activision and Microsoft. Now Microsoft owns Activision. Game Pass. DLC, I mean, even story at this point. There's a ton going on.
So they didn't do the towers in the trailer. They didn't do the. Everyone was like, they're gonna do the fucking towers. They're gonna reveal the towers. They didn't do it.
Next one.
But you know what I think is gonna happen? So this game is all not cold. It's post Cold War, 90s, late 80s, early 90s. It's a lot of the Gulf conflict, and I bet you this game's gonna end with 9/11.
I would not be surprised.
The game. So your guy, whoever you're playing, Mason or whoever the fuck. Mission succeeded. Come home, Captain Mason, and Captain Mason's on a plane that ends up in the fucking tower.
God damn it!
They find a way to make him be on one of those flights. You know what?
He's gonna be in the tower.
No. Either he's in the tower, or he's on United 93. And they make it like a not a callback, but they make it like a homage to Mile High Club, and then the plane ends up like not hitting the Pentagon, but out in a field in Pennsylvania. So, fuck! I hope they don't do any of this because this is the stupidest shit.
Is he going to be the one who leads the passengers to fight against the terrorists?
That's what they're going to fucking do.
I mean, don't get me wrong. That'd be a nice little tribute and everything, but at the same time, like, God damn.
Josh, if I died on the United 93 and you're like, oh my God.
I don't mean a tribute.
That is so nice. Nick would have loved. I'd be like, I would haunt you. I would haunt your ass and be like, that's a tribute to me. Fuck you.
But Nick, hear me out. Which of the three scenarios sound worse? you're on the plane that hits one of the towers, you're in the towers itself, or you're part of the passengers who decided to fight their way to the cabin and go down in the middle of nowhere field.
I think story wise, when the game, like what those Call of Duty games love to do, and this I'm just recalling off of like they want you to feel powerful at the end, but there are some, I think it was 2, where they want you to feel powerless. So like 2 where you're laying there with the knife in your chest and you can throw the knife. Like you're basically you're just the games always end with you like fucked up and like having to do one last thing to like survive, like for a better future.
But Nick, this is not a Dear John movie. Like, we're not going to be standing waiting for the interview at the tower.
He's gonna be in the tower. He's gonna be trying to escape, and then it doesn't matter because the tower collapses on him. But they're gonna do one of those things, and it shouldn't be any of those. It shouldn't be any of those.
Because I can't think of any historical events in between that would like make sense. Like that's the closest thing other than going to war itself at that point.
I just think we shouldn't be digging through historical happenings and looking for little pieces and nuggets for our action video games. Like that's the last thing I want.
Well, let's get a little deeper in here, Nick. Remember, I know I brought this up in a conversation prior to this, Nick, but 310 gigabytes.
It's a lot of gigabytes. That you can easily fit both towers in there.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I don't know what to say that, Nick. Damn.
They it's so many because the game has both towers in game, and they have enough NPC models in there
they modeled every single person that was there.
They modeled every single victim in that terrorist attack.
Well, I mean, yeah, okay, so they barely get both towers, but guess what? Because of both towers being in the game, I can't fit it on my PS5 or my Xbox or my PC because I don't have enough room.
It's just, it's so hard to take like if they do anything like that, if they do any of that, it's just going to be so hard to take it seriously because these are the developers that come out every year and they're like, listen to the sound of these guns. They're like, doesn't that sound more real this year? It's like, stop. Just stop.
We've said that Call of Duty is at this point the equivalent of like a Madden, like a EA Sports game. Every year, there's a new title. They updated the roster. They added two new features.
Hey, Soap McTavish is back.
Oh, well, hear me out here. So the last Black Ops, we had Hudson. It's not Hudson. Hold on.
You got it.
Cold War. I have to bring up the characters because I forget his name. He's in like almost every single Black Ops game.
There's Alex Mason's in there.
Alex Mason was last introduced in 2, and canonically, I'm saying up to 2.
Oh, okay.
And then 3, 4 don't have them. 5 didn't have a campaign. If I remember, no.
4
3 had the last campaign. 4 didn't have the campaign. 5 is technically Black Ops Cold War.
Mm-hmm.
6 is already messing with 2. So, Nick, do you remember Black Ops 2 where you had... Okay, there's multiple ways the game ended.
By the time 2 had come out, I was off.
Okay, so there's multiple endings. One ending is Alex Mason is dead.
Good.
Second ending is he's actually alive because you're playing as his son.
The game, you know what's going to happen at the end of 6 is that we're going to see that Alex Mason has been alive this whole time, and he's been an integral part. He's been an integral part in everything that's happened. And then the game ends with him in a building having a nice meeting about I've been alive the whole time, and then one of the planes hit the tower.
So Alex Mason, Nick, was born in 1939, I think, is what the tombstone says.
Yeah, he'd be 70. He'd be going up to see his son, who worked in the World Trade Center in 2001.
Okay, let me backtrack just for a second here, though. Fuck. You lost my train of thought.
Good hot takes, right? Good hot takes.
So you have Adler there. Adler comes back in 5, but in 6, allegedly he is the mole and it's ridiculous. But anyway, Alex Mason canonically now, at least with 6 apparently, he is actually dead. So that ending is now canonical, whatever at this point. And basically a bunch of things that have happened within the past 2 Call of Duties are just so Black Ops series is just like completely been retrofitted to fit this plot.
Josh, I'm going to tell you what everyone else is about to say. Nobody cares about the plot. They just want to play the multiplayer.
The zombies look good.
Just bring back the dive button. Like, I forget was it Black Ops that let you dive, like, midair?
Yeah, I think Black Ops started it.
Like, if you wanted to go prone. Bring it back. I don't think I've seen it in a Call of Duty in a while.
Once again, Nick, we've got our EA Sports Madden version of Call of Duty. This year they re-added the dive button, but they're going to go ahead and remove the ability to use akimbo.
It's also apparently going to be on Game Pass day 1.
Yeah, and people are fucking losing their minds over that. And it's like, guys, you knew this was going to happen with Microsoft buying it. You cannot act like you're surprised. Like, is it going to be on Game Pass? How is that fair? No one said it was going to be fair, guys. So they signed a deal with Sony. They said, hey, we'll keep it on your platform until 2030. But we're going to go ahead and put it on Game Pass because fuck you. Let's be honest. Let's be honest right now. Microsoft knows that they are losing the console war. They know that. They're not afraid to admit that.
I don't
but
think
know what they are going to do?
They're not even. There's no they're not fighting a console war. Microsoft is looking for a way to differentiate itself. They're looking.
Right. No,
they're looking to do it.
Not...
Nintendo cut itself off a nice little slice and said, "We're not going to fight with you guys. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to put out hardware that's a little behind yours, and we're going to put out these character-based games that people love, and we're going to do a lot of fucked up shit. We're going to not support the fans in their endeavors around our games. We're not really going to have a go-to online way to play games or chat with people. And people are still going to love us. People are going to look the other way because we're fucking Nintendo." And Microsoft's like, how do we do something like that?
And they decided, let's go after all these companies, get all these IPs, and let's basically just make it available pretty much everywhere.
Microsoft said, hey, let's be Netflix.
That's what honestly it's working for them right now. Like I hate to see them own another company, but the fact that they're putting on Game Pass day 1 is just like, that's a power move.
They own many other companies and they're going to keep doing it. Josh, what's next?
Moving on. Xbox confirms more games, quote, on more platforms, end quote. Yeah, so this is the Gamer article written by James Troughton.
Close enough.
Yeah, close enough. Sorry. What is there? I mean, literally, I keep wanting to say a Game Fest because they're at the same time, but their little thing that they did, there was a bunch. And I mean, honestly, between the two, I think Xbox was a little more exciting. There was a lot to take in. We got this one threw me off, Nick. Tell me how you feel about this. The all digital Xbox X.
I mean, it's been coming. Physical media on the game side. I mean, we've seen retailers kind of, dial it back and not have places and still have it, but not have it as much in stores. I mean, if you've walked through a Target or a Best Buy recently, their game aisles are sad. They're sad. They're not what they used to be, and that's coming from someone who used to work at a Target.
But I mean that's probably like the biggest geez, my best Morty impersonations. Oh geez, Rick.
Oh geez.
But no, they had a ton in there from. Obviously, they're trying to put more stuff on Game Pass. They're trying to make it more available. There's still the rumors of the Game Pass coming to the Switch, which will probably now the Switch 2. I mean, good God. They had their 4... Is it now all 4 games that they mentioned, or was it earlier this year or end of last year? Like Sea of Thieves and all that's all now available on PlayStation, right?
Yeah, that's all. It's all on PS5 now. Some of it's coming to the Switch. I'm just waiting for Game Pass to be like I said, they're wannabe Netflix. So I'm waiting for Game Pass to be able to run natively on the Steam Deck. I'm waiting for Game Pass on phone to become a thing.
And it eventually will be, I imagine. Like, I mean, well, technically, isn't the game, if you have Backbone, technically couldn't you do, or is it more of like a streaming? You have to have a computer to be able to stream it
I think
onto your phone.
you have to be able to stream
Okay,
it. You have to stream it locally. But
which makes sense.
put it on Steam Deck, you fuck, so I don't have to have Josh come over and rework this thing.
Yeah, I'd rather not rework this thing, guys. It's fucking ridiculous. I'm not in the, like, I don't get paid for that shit.
Rework my thing. What's next?
Moving down the list, finishing off, everything announced at the Xbox Showcase at Summer Game Fest 2024.
This is a Polygon article by Nicole Carpenter. I was pleasantly surprised by this. I watched this one live on Sunday, I believe. And they, of course, opened with Black Ops.
Yep.
Doom the Dark Ages looks really cool. I still need to go back and finish 2016 and even start Doom Eternal. State of Decay 3, you know, Decay 2 was like almost 10 years ago now, right?
God damn, has it really been that long?
I feel like it has. And they, you know, I've never really got into these, but this was a really good trailer. A lot of it centered around this little plushy dinosaur that one of the characters carried. I thought that was one of the better trailers. It's a game I will probably never play, but I thought it was a really well done trailer. Dragon Age unveiled their stupid rename. I think Dreadwolf was the better name.
I agree, but I do like what they showed us, though. The combat looks really good.
Fucking Kotaku in Action's already running fucking a train, like going crazy over that one. Starfield got some DLC, so did Fallout 76, or they're getting DLC. Expedition 33 looked really good. Did you see this one?
I think I did.
So this is the one where there's an artist in the middle of their like little on an island, and it paints 34. So when it paints your number, everyone that's that age like just disappears. Like Thanos snaps away.
Okay, I do remember seeing this one.
This is a turn-based RPG, and you're basically trying to stop that painter from painting 32. I think your character is 33, so it's like, oh fuck, we gotta stop before
Gotta
I'm
fix
dead.
this shit right now.
I love that they were standing around before, and then he's like, "Oh no, I like his." So I guess the main character's standing there with his wife or his partner or whoever, and the painter does the number, and she disappears, and then I guess that puts him into action. Like, oh fuck,
Abort.
I didn't know what he thought was gonna happen when her number got painted. Like what the why wasn't this already a thing?
I just imagine, you know, the Family Guy skit where the married couple are arguing about getting rid of the stump out front, and he's like, "I wish you would just disappear," and then she gets hit by the rocket, and he goes out to the stump. I just imagine that's what he was going for.
Maybe he was waiting for her to disappear so he could like just be free and go have sex with whoever. They should call it Sexpedition 33.
We can be alone now, but I'm rooted to the ground. That's okay. We'll figure it out.
I think we're alone now. South of Midnight was one that looked really cool. This is the, it almost looked like gameplay wise, like an Assassin's Creed / Fable. It's set in a southern bayou. I forget, is it fantasy setting? There's a lot of like, not New World magic. What's the magical realism? There it is. It feels like a magical realism setting. The game is very it's from the makers of We Happy Few, and everything's the animation. Let me just show you, Josh. I don't know if you saw this. It's just very almost claymation, like claymation frame by frame.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
And it carries over into the gameplay too. It looks really fucking cool. And not as much, but yeah, it basically drops frames, and it looks really cool. They did a World of Warcraft announcement. A lot of people thought this was going to be actual like World of Warcraft coming to Xbox, so I think people were kind of upset by this one. Metal Gear Delta, Sea of Thieves got an edition. Flintock? I thought it was Flintlock. Whatever. Flintock, Siege of Dawn. I've been calling that the wrong thing. Age of Mythology. Perfect Dark looked really cool.
Yeah.
Diablo, and then Fable. I don't want to name all these, but we'll be here forever. Mixtape was a very 90s coming of age look to it. They showed off Indiana Jones. I think the big one, Avowed, they showed Avowed. That wasn't a big one, but I like the look of Avowed, and I'm probably going to check that out when it comes out. Adamfall was a war game. A lot of games in this show. The big one was Gears of War E-Day. People knew a Gears of War game was coming. We didn't realize it was going to be a prequel. This is essentially Gears of War Reach. Fall of Reach. This is the Fall of Reach, everybody.
This is the Gears of War, was it 3 DLC? Where they let you...
The Shadow of Ram was like the closest to E-Day we ever got.
Yeah.
You know what? I think Gears Tactics might be closer, though. I'd have to double check that. But E-Day, Marcus and Dom are back. I think this really went well with people. The story coming out of this is we don't know if this is going to be an Xbox and a PS5 thing. I think it'd be really dumb for them to make it both. I think when you have your smaller games, like, yeah, put them out on both. Put your Bethesda games out. Put your id games out on both. But, like, still have your in-house stuff.
See, I feel like they'll keep this in-house. And they'll keep it that way, but they'll do what PlayStation's been doing. Eventually, they'll release it out further. So maybe PlayStation will see it eventually down the line. Because if not, they'll probably do what they did with Tactics, where, well, yeah, I think it was Tactics that they waited like a year before they released it onto the PC, or it was that same day release.
Not even like I think obviously this will come to PC, but like I think when it comes to PlayStation, like the fact that we haven't seen Gears Tactics on PlayStation means I don't think we're ever going to see any Gears games on PlayStation. So Microsoft paid so much for that IP when they bought it from Epic that I think they're like it's like, no, like we want to, like this is our big showcase. This is like the reason you buy an Xbox. Besides that and Halo, really you're not buying Xbox for anything besides those two. Maybe if you're a car nut, you're doing it for Forza. No one's going out and buying an Xbox for Fable. No one's going out and buying an Xbox for Hi-Fi Rush or any of that.
I mean, they used to for Fable back in the day.
Back in the day, but now not so much. So I think Gears will stay. And I don't care either way. Like, put it out on fucking the Sega Genesis. I don't give a shit. But I don't think this will come to both. And this trailer, by the way, really, really good trailer.
Yeah.
There are notes of Mad World like playing throughout. Like you can hear, like they don't overdo it. It's just a simple trailer. It felt like a Gears of War trailer. And they brought the whole name back. It's not just Gears. It's Gears of War. Yeah. It's back.
Well, yeah, because they're actually Gears of War. They are the Gears, though. So
they are the Gears of War. It's a metaphor for war, in case you were wondering. It's war. It never changes. Josh, you got a meme for us?
Oh, I sure do.
Meme time.
All right, we've got our good old buddy Buzz Lightyear talking to Woody, giving him a summary of Summer Game Fest 2024. Prequels everywhere.
All right, so I'm aware of E-Day. What are these other prequels you speak of?
So let's go on through Call of Duty Black Ops 6. That is technically a prequel. It's a prequel to 3.
Mm-hmm.
We're throwing that technicality. I'll take it. Then you also have Doom, The Dark Ages. That is a prequel. Let me pull up my list. Technically, Star Wars Outlaws is a prequel. It's set in between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Where did my other list go? I feel dumb. I just had it up. Here it is. Civilization 7 is technically a prequel. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is technically a prequel. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Prequel. Honkai Star Rail is technically a prequel because it is a prequel to Third Impact. There is also... Where's the other one on here? Dune Awakening is a prequel.
Okay, you're cut off. You named them. You named them all. No more.
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Reader's Rewind is a prequel.
Reader's Rewind looks really cool too. It's a 2D beat 'em up. So to finish up the show, I know we just went through basically the whole Xbox thing, but let's sit here and talk about like some of the things that we saw from Game Fest that we thought Game Fest or its neighboring shows that we really jived with.
Before we go to that, Nick, can we talk about the things we didn't jive with real quick?
Go ahead. Go off, Queen.
Harry Potter Quidditch Champions.
Did it look like Madden?
it looked like rather than giving everybody what they wanted in Hogwarts Legacy, they're like, you know what? Let's just make it an EA game. We'll go ahead and give you a roster of people you've never even heard of, and you can just play games.
I feel like there was a Quidditch game previously.
There was. I think it was back on the.
And EA did it because they had the little EA swoop at the bottom.
It was back. Like, I want to say like PS2.
Did that ever come out? I'd have to look, but I feel
I'd
like
have to look it up, to be honest.
The few VR games I saw that I'm like, why are we doing this? That was more of the state of play that had more VR than anything. But the goofiest thing I think from just all of this, and I'm lumping it in because it was within a week of the show, but the PSVR 2 announcing PC compatibility after the show. A few days after the show, instead of doing it at the show, it would have been a big thing, a big deal.
I agree 100%. They literally lost an opportunity. But at the same time, like I said, yes, there's no longer such thing as a console war, but no one's told Sony.
Goobers, fucking goobers.
You know the story about the Japanese. I can't remember if it's just a single soldier, if it's a little platoon that were stuck on an island for 10 years and they thought the war was still going on after the fact.
Yeah, I've seen it referenced in some stuff.
That is Sony right now. They have no idea the war's over. Xbox is already just not laying unconscious, but like their managers came in and threw in the towel. They're like, no, they're done. We can't fight anymore. Nintendo is the spectator just watching.
Capitalism, Josh. War never changes. I'll tell you what I didn't like. There weren't a lot of dates. Everything was 2025.
Or if it wasn't 2025, it was
it didn't have anything.
Early access coming soon.
If it wasn't 2025, it didn't have anything. Like the Metal Gear Delta, like the final scene, the final screen pops up and it doesn't have a date at all, and then get it on these consoles.
Yeah, it's everybody. Like I said, we talked about it last week with them basically like pushing it back, but it's like, okay, obviously it's not going to be this year. We'll be lucky if it's next year, but with them not even giving us a date, it's kind of like I have a feeling we're probably going to see a 2026 release the rate we're going.
Mm-hmm. So then, what I liked, I wrote down 5. I'm only gonna do 4 of them though. That Perfect Dark. Did you see Perfect Dark?
I did see Perfect Dark. It looks, honestly, that was like, of all the first-person shooters there were, other than Doom, I would say that's probably the one I want to get.
So it looked very much like Dishonored, like they're going for the realism, sim real, whatever they call that genre. But the fascinating thing about that is a lot of people were like, what's going on with Perfect Dark? Is this still a thing? Is this going to look good? Is this going to be fun? And I think that was probably one of the best looking games from the show overall.
Oh my God, it looks so good.
And I've already seen a few people be like, oh, what did they do to, what's the character's name?
I don't remember. And honestly, it's up there with Asmongold being watching the trailer to Delta and going, "Oh, I hope they don't get all political." Are you fucking dumb? That is the bloodline of every fucking Metal Gear since the PS1. It is every little bit of fucking political.
I hope they don't make Silent Hill 2 remake scary. I hope they don't get scary with this remake.
I mean, literally, where do we get the? I mean, obviously, Nick is going to speak to our age. The Lalelu. Shadow Moses.
You should use a revolver. That whole monologue of him telling him he needs to use a revolver. I can't wait. I hope he doesn't I hope he doesn't monologue about revolvers.
When I saw that video, I fucking just wanted to bash that motherfucker's head in, because it's like, dude, if you came in here and said Harry Potter Quidditch champions, that shit better not be political. I'd be like, oh, okay.
There's one Quidditch player taking a knee during the Wizard anthem.
I'm just like, okay, fine, whatever. You're fucking saying a game should be political when its whole basis is all political. The whole reason Naked Snake is even there is because of a U.S. nukes being taken and used in fucking Russia.
I think we shouldn't take anything that man says at face value because he can't even clean his house. So fuck him. He's got a dead animal in a pile somewhere behind him. Let's not worry about this man. Let's stop giving him the attention. Josh, what did you see that you're excited about?
Cuff bust.
Cuff bus?
Cuff bust. That looks so fucking fun.
Go on, King. Go on.
Okay, so for those who didn't see it, essentially, you are either going to be the group of escapees of a prison, or you are going to be the team that is trying to, like, you're basically like the security, you're trying to stop them, and you're trying to break out of prison, basically.
Oh, and they're so cute.
And there's multiple ways you can do it, whether it's you blow up the bathroom, go through the sewage and break through walls, or you climb to the roof and escape via the helicopter, or you get into the security office and you're able to communicate with the other teams, let them know where the guards are at and what you should do. It just looks like a great multiplayer game to play. And it looks like there's going to be a ton to do in it because everything is interactive. They're using bars of soap to throw at the guards' feet to make them slip. They're using spoons to dig through tunnels. They're able to build dynamite. They're able to grab furniture and throw it. It just looks like a great game to play with your friends.
That looks fun. Can you hold your fellow inmate's pocket?
That I don't know, but there is a scene where you're in the showers grabbing soap, and one of the NPCs turns around, looks at you, and he like looks scared, like you're gonna shove the soap up his ass.
That does look great.
It just looks like a fun little game to play.
So next on my list, we already talked about it a little bit, but Snake Eater, that looked great. It looks...
Yes, I mean, honestly, and they kept, obviously, a lot of the assets. Like, the whole bridge, just seeing that in its glory looked so fucking good.
And then, apparently, so I read this in an article, I think it was on Kotaku, but apparently Snake, any damage you take throughout the game, it remains. So, like, if you get, like, if you get, like, a slash on your arm and you bandage it up, that bandage stays on you the entire game.
That's cool.
I don't know how, because I mean, you're going to get hurt a lot, so I don't know how much of that. I wonder if the bandage, like, I wonder if you have to change your bandages. I wonder if that's going to come into play. That would be cool.
That'd be cool.
I don't know if they would add systems to that game like that, but that would be really cool.
That'd be cool being able to, if you eat the same food over and over again, it's less effective or starts to get really blah or something and Snake gets sick. That'd be cool.
Snake just doesn't like eating tree frogs. He's like, oh, this is disgusting.
I mean, just like they were like just being able to reminisce all the spots. Like, I don't know about you, Nick, but every single spot they were showing in the game, I remember vividly from the original. So it's like it's very reminiscent still.
That game is locked in my head. I don't like once you're on the base, like the base is just very generic, very boring. But like everything in the
everywhere else,
everything in the forest is just amazing.
My only worry though is because Kojima is not a part of it. Are we still going to get that Kojima factor? Like, if you leave the chip in your was it your hip or your arm or whatever, and you get to Eve and she finds it, pulls it out, and like there's like you see them, their shadows, and she's like trying to like basically heal him up, and he's just like, "Oh, get the fuck off me!" And then at one point they're dancing and spinning.
All that weird shit was still like it doesn't sound like they're changing too much about the game. I think the only thing that would be Kojima? The only thing that wouldn't be in there is Snake versus monkeys. Like they'd have to find something else. Cause I don't think.
Oh yeah,
I don't think the apes would be available.
Does Sony own the apes?
Yeah, Ape Escape's a Sony joint.
Okay. And they haven't released anything in a hot minute with that anyway. So I don't know. They probably would have to like beg them for it, unless that was like part of like a deal. But
what else you got, Chief?
I did like Phantom Blade Zero.
Is that one of those runner games?
No, that was the Sekiro meets or Sekiro meets Ghost of Tsushima almost. Are we free to get your video?
YouTube's been more aggressive with my ad blocker lately. Okay, this is Souls-like.
Yeah.
There were
There are a
lot of Souls-like this show.
Oh no, there was, but honestly, of all of them, this looked really good.
I do like the one-on-one battles I'm seeing here.
that, and they do. I like games who allow you to switch between weapons. Like, I'm not saying Souls games don't do that, but like seamlessly switching them and using them, like for example, being able to switch from the katana to the bow really quickly. I like games like that. I just like the snappiness of it because it's like, okay, yeah, like, I'm gonna need to be able to on the fly switch from a bow to a katana.
I do wonder. I do wonder how many of these are going to catch on because there was one I had listed that I'm not going to mention, but these games are these games are usually harder. These games are, and there's only so much room, and I know Lies of P did really well. Obviously, everyone's getting ready for Elder. I almost called it Elder Scrolls. uh,
Eldoran.
uh,
Or not Eldoran, god damn it.
yeah, you're doing it now.
No, I'm doing it now.
uh,
Elden Ring.
yeah, everyone's getting ready for the Elden Ring DLC. I just wonder how much room people are going to have for these in their life because these are hundreds of hours at a time, and everyone's coming off of Final Fantasy. Oh wow, that guy died. No, this looks fine. Next one on my list was, and you know, I'm leaning very heavily on the Xbox side just because these are really good. Like the Game Fest games weren't really impressive to me.
No, but in all, there's still. I mean, there's a couple of them that were like, oh yeah, but I'd say the Xbox showcase for sure was like the shit this year.
I didn't see Day of the Dev. Has Day of the Dev happened yet?
Not that
The
I'm
indie
aware of.
showcase. I haven't seen it yet.
'Cause I think the only ones that have happened. So we had Game Fest. You had Xbox Showcase. There was the
Ubisoft happened yesterday.
Ubisoft, Sony State of Play, um, the SGF stream.
Let's see. Day of the Devs. Looking to see. Summer Games Fest. Day of the Devs, apparently. I didn't see anything from Day of the Devs. I haven't really seen any reporting on it either, though.
Neither have I.
So I need to go back and look at that. I have South of Midnight. I just love the claymation, the dropped frame rates, and the cutscenes. It looks like a good game, and I'm really interested in that world. It was giving me Fable 2 vibes. So I'll be excited to see that. And We Happy Few is a game I've been meaning to check out. So I kind of want to check out those guys' backlog. Josh, you got another one?
I mean, we're all gonna say it, so we must just get it out of the way.
Let's do it.
Gears of War E-Day.
Dude.
Oh my god.
They better fucking work in Carlos Santiago somehow. Dom has a brother named Carlos, right?
Yeah.
And he died in the books.
Yeah, he dies. It's in between 1 and 2, isn't it?
He dies before E-Day. He dies at Asphalt Fields.
Oh, it's before E-Day. Oh, okay.
I really hope they do it. Like, bring Asphalt Fields into... Like, I only read those first 2 books, but anyone looking for a game-related book to read fucking... If you had to read one Gears of War book, read Asphalt Fields.
What if that's where that's where it starts? That's like the starting mechanics of really showing you everything is that.
I'd be so excited!
And then it goes right into E-Day.
Well, because if they're looking for a heavy thing to happen early, Carlos dies at Asphalt Fields. If I remember correctly, he basically blows himself like Dom. Did I say blows himself? Blows himself up like Dom.
I didn't know they both had their bottom sets of ribs removed.
No, so what he does is he gets caught. He's basically he gets shot by a sniper. And again, this is years, so I'm trying to remember this. They're using him as bait. Carlos is like, Marcus, don't you come out here. He holds a grenade up, lets it go, and blows himself up. And if I remember that, I think that's what happened. So yeah, let's do that, because then Marcus is reunited with Dom, and then if you remember the first Gears, Marcus goes AWOL at some point, and it's Dom that saves him. So it'll be really interesting to maneuver that relationship after the death of Carlos. I don't know when Dom loses Maria. I don't know if it's during E-Day or...
I thought it was during E-Day because the whole time he's trying to find her because they got separated.
Right. So I'm curious. I'm curious to see how they... Because by the end of E-Day, you have to have Marcus go AWOL, right?
Well, no, because it doesn't... I mean, it happens like literally almost right after E-Day. It's because he goes to his family's mansion to save his dad after he was ordered not to do it.
That's right. And his dad wasn't there. See, I need to go back.
No, his dad was there, but he saw the house collapse on his dad. But really, it was they made it look like he died so that the queen could take him. And then I forget the secret unit that works for the president, but they were able to rescue him, and they started to make that island where it was impossible for them to get to him.
They better put all these fucking games on PC Game Pass so I can get caught up. I need to play
They have
one
the
through
first
3
one.
again. They've got the first one. First one is an all-timer. And
We
it's
were
18
playing it
years
at
old.
one point. I think we stopped playing it.
Yeah, I think that was right around time I got a job.
Yeah.
Maybe we should
think
play
we
it and
just-
it'll get you a job.
Right. I think we had just gotten to the was it the second prison or the factory, where it is, where it's all dark.
I think we'd
It's like
gotten
right after the city.
we'd gotten past the Theron Guard, so we were in chapter or Act 4, however they split them up. But I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see the places they go. That was my last one. Do you have any other ones?
I'll throw it out again because it also looked good. Doom, the Dark Ages.
Dark Ages does look good. Again, I think I'm privileged with the fact that all those games are on PC Game Pass, so I can easily get caught up. But I want to know how when it gets dark and they need a flashlight, how's that going to work? Because they didn't have duct tape on the space station in Mars in Doom 3. So you think they're going to have? You think they're going to have a fucking duct tape in the Dark Ages?
I mean,
Think
you
again.
saw that. I mean, I still think the two coolest things that came out of that trailer, the shield, that shield looks so fucking awesome,
Mm-hmm.
and then the skull shotgun.
Dude, I am excited for that game. That game's gonna be cool.
It's gonna be so cool.
That game's gonna be really cool. Well, hey, we got a lot to look forward to. We've also got Steam Next Fest to look forward to. I'm gonna try and play some demos. We'll see if that happens. We reached the end of the show. You can find me, Nick, on Twitter at That Kaufman. You can find me on Twitch and YouTube at Nick Fat Knight. I am streaming Iron Harvest and Soma right now. I had to take a break last week, but I'm gonna be back. If you're hearing this, I've already streamed. But check Nick Fat Knight out on Tuesday nights. Josh, where can people find you?
You can find me anywhere and everywhere at I'm Josh Saying.
I'm Josh Sang, and I had my interview with Heather Ann Campbell from Rick and Morty go up on Hard Drive, Minus World. So go check that out. That was a fun little interview talking about physical media, the spaghetti episode of Rick and Morty, the incest episode of Rick and Morty. You know the one.
Yeah,
And
the one.
yeah, it was a good, fun little interview. And still doing reviews for Game Chronicle. It's going out. It's gonna be gone next May, so we got to find a new site to write reviews for. And then I'm still working on my Firewatch piece. You're like, Nick, where's that fire? It's coming. I'm still working on it. I've got about 800 words. I'm taking my time with it. I'm not rushing it because I don't have to. Smashing Game Time. You can find us anywhere you get your podcasts: Apple, Spotify, the Googles of the world. I'm sorry, YouTube podcast and YouTube proper. My brain is going to Jello, and we're doing this in the middle of the day. How does that work? I don't know. SmashingGameTime.com is where you can find the podcast and our written words. And that's it. Oh, Alex Marvin Clark does our intro and outro song, Hunt Him Down. Go check his stuff out. We've got a link down in the show notes. Awesome stuff. Thank you, Al. And that's it. That's the show. We'll be back next week with some more awesome stuff. Goaty So's coming up the week of... We decided the week after July 4th, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Goaty So will be July 8th through the 12th, so be ready for that. Josh and I got to sit down and actually get our categories sorted out for that. So that's coming up. Everybody get ready for that. Hey, everybody, this has been Smashing Game Time. I hope you all had a smashing great time. We'll see each and every one of you next time.